This video is about how to use HTML anchors, and what HTML anchors do is they allow you to link into the middle of a page, or in fact to any particular part of a HTML page. So instead of just linking to the top of a web page, you can link directly to a paragraph or a heading. So what I'm going to do here is I've got a blog post and I've got it set up with 3 links here. What I'm going to do with these 3 links, and there are no links in the text at the moment, so you can see I'm clicking on them, nothing happens. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn these into 3 links to another blog post, which I have here. And in this blog post here, I have the subheadings, and I'm going to link the subheading 1, make that a link directly to this part of the page, and then the second link I'm going to go to subheading 4, which is down a bit, and then with the last one I'm going to use a slightly different technique, and I'm going to link to this text, Lorem Ipsum Dolor, which is down here on the page. So what I'm going to do now is on the page where I want the anchor to be, so this is the page that I want to link to, I'm going to edit this page and I'm going to add the anchors. So if I go back to what I want the links to be, I want subheading 1. So I'm going to go to subheading 1, and this is in a H2 tag, and if I'm in the visual editor you see it as a heading, but I want to actually edit it in HTML. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to click HTML editor and I'm going to go in, and there's a tag there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a space after the H2 at the start of the subheading, and I'm going to type ID equals, and I'm going to say subheading 1. That's it. ID equals subheading 1 with subheading 1 in quotes. And if you know any CSS, you'll recognize that this is something that we use in order to design and apply particular designs to particular parts of the page. If you don't know CSS, don't worry about what I just said. The important thing to know is the text you need to put in there is ID equals and then a unique name which identifies this anchor. So I'm going to click update here, and now that's saved, I'm going to go and edit the link. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this a link, and I'm going to click on the link button. Now the destination URL, I need to find out where this, I need to get the URL for the page. So this is the URL, I'm copying it out of the address bar. I'm going to paste it in here to URL. Now here's the important thing. I then need to put in what's called the hash symbol, or perhaps in your country it's called a pound symbol. So it's the one that looks like 2 vertical lines crossed by 2 horizontal lines. So I'm going to put that hash symbol or pound symbol, and then I'm going to put the unique identifier, which was subheading 1. Now this text here has to be identical to the text that you had in quotes. So now I'm going to click on add link. So now you see that this link that is here, if you're looking at it in the HTML editor, has the URL or page address, and then it has a hash mark or a pound mark, and then it has the string or the unique identifier that was in the anchor. So now if I click update, and I'm going to do view post on this, so now I can see that this is now a link, and if I click on this link it brings me directly to the subheading. So I'll just do that again. Click on the link and you jump straight to the subheading instead of the top of the page like it normally would. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the same type of code. I'm just copying the ID equals, and I'm going to go down to the subheading 4. I'm going to paste that in, and I'm just going to change the 1 to a 4. So we've got ID equals subheading 4. So that's the anchor is set. I'm going to save that one. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit the link, and in fact what I'll just do is copy and paste it from here and just change that to 4, and then make sure that I have the link closed. So what I mean by closing the link is, with a link in HTML you have the open of the tag there, and then you have the actual link text, and then you need to close it afterwards. So if you haven't done any HTML, just be careful to follow exactly what I've done on the screen here, and you can practice some HTML using the links that we've included on the site, which show you some places that you can practice HTML and learn more about it. It's quite easy. You don't need an awful lot of HTML to be able to edit these files and to do what I'm doing here. It can be very useful because it makes you more familiar with what you're doing. But to do what I'm doing here, all you need to do is do exactly what I'm doing and it'll work for you. So I'm going to click update and save this now. So what this is saving is the link to subheading 4. So there is subheading 4. If I view the post, you can see that this is now a link, and if I click on that one, it brings me straight down to near the bottom or halfway down the page where subheading 4 is. So I'll click back and click subheading 1, and it brings me to that one, and click back and click subheading 4, and that brings me there. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do the last link to the Lorem Ipsum Dolor. Again, I'm just going to copy and paste the link text because it's easier for copy and paste the code. I'm going to change this anchor. I'm just going to call it Lorem. So, and then I just need to add the /a. So now I'm going to save this. So I've called the anchor Lorem, that's what I'm linking it to. So now I need to go to the anchor is in the text. So that's on this one here. And I'll just open that in a new window just so you can see where we're going to go. So that's the text right there. Now as you can see, this is not a header. It's not a heading. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a slightly different technique. That's the text there that we are going to make into the anchor. The beauty and the difficulty here is there's lots of different ways you can do this. In HTML, you usually have a couple of different ways that you can do things, and it's usually the way with any of these things related to websites and computers is there's usually at least 3 ways to do something. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you the oldest way that people used to do this, and it was using the a name equals tag. So this looks a little bit like a link because it's an a tag, but instead of having an a href, it's got a name equals, and then you've got the anchor. So I just update that, and I go to the second blog post, and now I click on the link to Lorem Ipsum. You'll see that it links straight down to here. Now you'll notice as well that this text here is now colored with the color of a link. It's got the underline, even though when you click on it nothing happens, and that's because we made this into an a tag. So that's a side effect of how we did it, and I'm going to show you a different way that won't do that. I'm going to edit the anchor again. Now what I'm going to do is I'm not actually editing the link at all, so I'm going to leave the link exactly as it is. I'm going to go into where I had the a name tag here, and I'm going to change it so that instead of it being an a tag, I'm going to make this a div. So I'm going to make that div, and I'm going to change name to id. So div id equals Lorem, and then I'm going to take out that /a, and I'm going to scroll down to the bottom of this paragraph, and I'm going to put in a closing div tag. And the reason I've put that at the start and at the end is because if I don't, it'll force a paragraph break. The main thing you need to consider here is that if you do exactly what I've done, it will work exactly the same way. So we can discuss on the forums if you've got questions about how and why. But if you follow exactly what I've done, it'll work for you. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to refresh I'm going to go back to the blog post page, just refresh that, and this is the links page. And if I click on that link now, it links me to the Lorem Ipsum paragraph. But you'll notice that this is now not marked up in the same way with the link, the blue link. So if we go back, okay, so I mentioned a minute ago that if we put the div at the start, we have to put the other one at the end rather than halfway through the paragraph, because it messes up the formatting. So I'm just going to cut the div from the end and paste it just after, so that this text here is the anchor and just this text on its own. So, and this is using the div technique, and I'm just going to click update. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the link, and on the link I'm going to click on that, and now as you can see what happens is it actually puts in a line break here, and that's because we're closing a div and starting another div. If you want to understand the technical reason, is because a div in HTML is what's called a block element, and it forces the next element to start on a new line. And there are ways to stop that happening, but in the context of what you're trying to do here with the anchor text, the best thing to do is use it on something like a heading, or you can also use it on, for example, the links that I showed you a minute ago where you've got a list, so you can link to any one of those list items. List items and headings are the best things to link to when you're linking into the middle of a page. That makes the most sense from the point of view of what you want to use it for, because usually you want to use it for things like if you've got a list of questions and you want to link from the question to the answer for that particular question, then it's usually in a list form or with a heading. That's how to use HTML anchors and link to a particular part of a HTML page, and that's 3 different ways to do it. Thanks for watching.